Alright, what's up? We're messing around Brooklyn this time. Gonna do a few things here, a few random things. We'll start off here at Prospect Park. I'm not sure what this fountain is. Just looks cool. Fountains look cool, especially when they got big freaking statues in them. Not sure what it's about, but gonna walk by and check it out. There's at the other end of this little area. But Prospect Park is real big. We're not going to check out the whole thing, but just a few spots. But this little section, or whatever you want to call it, that we're in now, the other side of it, there's a JFK memorial for whatever reason right here. I'm not sure why. I don't know what reason they've got for putting this here in Brooklyn, Prospect Park. But of course, JFK assassinated there in the 60s, 63, I think, down in Dallas. We've been there, checked that spot out before. But just walking by and checking this one out here too. While I'm at it, before we get too far into things here, I don't really give a crap one way or another, too deeply into it anyway, what you do. But if you want to, go ahead and like and subscribe, whatever there. Over here, this freaking arch looks real cool. Sailors and Soldiers Monument Arch, I think. This is Grand Army Plaza, which is the entrance to Prospect Park. It's all junked up with construction right now, but that archway looks a billion times cooler than the Washington Square Park archway that is a little more well known in New York City. That Washington Square Park, we'll check it out too, but it looks cool, and it's cool. It's in Half Baked, a movie, I Am Legend, but this one looks a billion times cooler. It just would have been better if the construction wasn't going on. We're going to head on into Prospect Park here now, a little further into it. It's got a bunch of these bridges. Central Park's got a bunch of these bridges too. Make me think of Home Alone 2, which was in Central Park. This is just one of the random bridges. I'm sure it's got a name, probably a sign here that I didn't pay enough attention to. But we're going to walk through here, go check out there's a boathouse. We'll go get a closer look at that boathouse in just a second. One random thing about Prospect Park, if you remember, like 2016, there's a Tom Hanks movie, Sully, about that pilot, Sully Sullenberger, who had to kind of crash land the airplane in the river here in New York. Because a bunch of geese or something had ran into it. I didn't see the movie. I remember the whole deal happening, but I've not seen the movie. But those geese were apparently from here in Prospect Park. After the plane crash incident, they took those geese, like 400 of them, 400 geese. They took them and gassed them, got rid of them because of that. So kind of a weird random fact there. And if that fact wasn't enough to brighten your day, put a little sunshine in your day. Several murders and stuff happened here in the park over the years. There's a turtle. Just look at this water, freaking algaed up from crap. But back in the 90s, like 93, there was a dude in his 40s. A bunch of thug teenagers were trying to steal his bike and ended up shooting and killing him. Back in 2018, there was a lawyer who had the bright idea of lighting himself on fire. He was going to protest fossil fuels. He ended up lighting himself on fire and committing suicide. But so a lot of good news, I guess, there if you're a grim person. There's a little sign over here. We'll check out this sign. It mentions this freaking deadly algae or whatever. Don't touch it, anything like that. But that the building that was over here, that's the boathouse right there. And the water would look cool, I guess, if it wasn't for that freaking deadly algae. Now here we go. Here's where the water looks a whole lot better. It's still in Brooklyn. Just looking over into Manhattan there. This is the area. It's known as DUMBO, down under Manhattan Bridge overpass. What it stands for. Awesome freaking killer views over here of Manhattan, and we'll get an awesome freaking view of the Brooklyn Bridge in just a second too. But man, that's just killer right there, I think. A lot of people hang out here, obviously because of the freaking killer views. People run, stuff, jog all the time here. You can see all the buildings over there on Manhattan. One of them, the New World Trade Center. There's the Brooklyn Bridge. We'll get some cool, real good views of it in just a second too. But the World Trade Center, you can see it back in view here now. The new one. So sure, back in the day in 2001, 9/11, people were right here. I'm sure just having to see everything going down from right here. It's pretty crazy to think about. I think I called that bridge right there the Brooklyn Bridge a second ago. That's the Manhattan Bridge, and then the other bridge down here on the other side on the left of us that will show, that's the Brooklyn Bridge right down here. So walked across the Brooklyn Bridge several times. First time I did it was like midnight years ago. We were kind of over in the projects. We were staying in a place over in Brooklyn. We were over in the projects over on the Manhattan side, and cop stopped us around midnight, and I guess felt bad for us, and asked us where we was going, and walked us from there to get on the walking portion there, the pedestrian part of the Brooklyn Bridge. Walked across it, but that was cool views there at night. And I walked across there a couple years ago too, or 2 years ago, whenever it was last time I was up here. But here it is, and then just killer view there. Manhattan's just tough to beat as far as skyline view. I guess unbeatable, at least in this country, especially with the water down here. I don't know what these boats are. Some kind of tour boat, I guess. Fancy, rich tour boat. But they just kept kind of circling back and forth, so I don't know if they go anywhere cool or not. I think the New York Times calls this neighborhood the most Instagrammed neighborhood in the country, in the world, whatever they want to call it, something like that. And there's a reason why. I'll show you in just a second. We'll get it's a killer view of the other bridge, that bridge, Manhattan Bridge, looking down this one street with the buildings on either side. If you get it just right, you can get the Empire State Building kind of in the, right here we go. So if you get it just right, if you look closer, Empire State Building will be framed in those bottom pillars. But that's right here is the shot where everybody just freaking loves it. But that's the Manhattan Bridge, and that is a freaking awesome shot. But one of the most photographed places, I guess, in the country anyway. And I can definitely see why. I guess this is the one time where the Manhattan Bridge gets a little love. All the attention usually goes to the Brooklyn Bridge. All these bridges look cool. Queensboro, this one, Brooklyn, Williamsburg Bridge, I think is what one of them's called. But this one, all these are old. This one was opened up in 1909. Used to carry streetcars back and forth. Subway was added in, I think, 1915, something like that, 1912, 1915. And then the weight of the subway trains caused some issues. The bridge started leaning to the right. Back in the 80s, that's that killer shot again. Back in the 80s, they had to do a bunch of work to kind of make it a little more solid. I guess nobody wanted to cross over a crooked bridge. I'm sure it wasn't that bad. Cars weren't falling off in the water, I guess, but still not good to have a crooked bridge, I'm sure. All right, that's it. I'm gonna shut my mouth. We'll take in this view and just check it out for a minute and head on out of here.